Welcome back everyone, it's Halo Reach Tutor back with another Halo Reach gameplay. As always, I'm giving you the tips and tricks that you need to step up your game and take it to the next level. This time around, I'm going to be focusing on some vehicle tips and tricks. It's a funny thing, in my last video, we were talking about power weapons, and I mentioned that my favorite power weapon in the game is the Guass Hog. And then, like, literally the very next day, I'm playing Heavies on Cragmire, which is a version of Spire. And lo and behold, I hop in the Gauss Hog and get like 30 kills, including a rampage, and have a couple really great streaks. And so, I guess the moral of the story is, when you're thinking about something and when you're focusing on something, a lot of times it ends up coming true and happening. In Halo and in life for that matter, when you're thinking about stuff and you're focusing on things, then a lot of times, they end up turning into reality. So anyway, I start talking about the Gauss Hog, and all of a sudden I have like one of my best games all time in the Gauss Hog, like literally the very next game. So I wanted to share it with you guys here and give you some vehicle tips and tricks along the way. But before I get to those, just a quick reminder. Make sure to check the feed tab on my channel homepage. I'm going to be announcing open game night times and dates very, very soon in the next couple days. So keep your eye out there for some upcoming times. And additionally, make sure that you keep sending in submissions for the Spotlight video. Again, what I'm looking for is videos that are YouTube ready, that maybe you've already posted them to your YouTube channel, or maybe it's a new video you want to create. And if it's ready to go and I like what I see, I may be willing to feature it on my channel and help you get a little bit of extra exposure that way. Again, keep your videos clean, keep them under 10 minutes, but other than that, just be creative. It doesn't have to be multiplayer. It can be like Forge World, it can be Firefight, it can be a montage video. It doesn't even have to be like a commentary. I don't want just a gameplay. There's got to be something to it, right? But if you want to do like a montage or something like that, that's perfectly fine. So I'm running around here. I've got a killing spree in this Gauss Hog. We're gonna get burned up here before I can get much beyond a killing spree. But I'm gonna jump into a second Gauss Hog, and that's when I'm gonna go on my rampage. So let me get into the tips and tricks here before we run out of time. Most of the tips I'm going to give today are specifically for the Warthog, but a lot of these tips are also applicable to other vehicles, right? And a lot of times in videos I'll give you a tip or an idea that applies in Halo but also applies in life in general, right? Well, today I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to give you a tip for life that also applies in Halo. And that tip is never get into a vehicle with strangers. Okay? That's my tip for you today. In life, if you get into a vehicle with strangers, only bad things are going to happen. I guarantee it. It's the same thing in Halo. If you get into a vehicle with a stranger, only bad things are going to happen. Luckily today, I'm driving around with a friend of mine, Captain Camper 42. We actually just became friends, but we're friends now, and he's a fantastic driver and really able to help me do a lot of damage. He gets a Roadhog, and I get a Rampage along the way. So if you're going to get into a vehicle, make sure to do so with people that you know, because otherwise, really dangerous situation. Most of the tips I want to talk about are tips for drivers, because driving is actually a lot more difficult than shooting. Well, at least driving in a manner that's not going to get everybody killed. So the number one rule I want to give you if you're going to be driving a vehicle, specifically a Warthog, is watch out. All right, that's the number one thing you can do as a driver, is look out. It's the same thing in real life. If you're driving around, what's the number one goal? Don't hit anything, right? And it's kind of the same thing in Halo. Like, you want to watch out for anything that's going to take down a vehicle, right? Like a Scorpion or a Scorpion or a Wraith, right? Or other vehicles like a Warthog or something like that. You just want to steer clear of other large, powerful vehicles, right? Also, if you're in a Warthog, don't go around trying to splatter people, okay? I mean, you got a gunner on the back with most likely rockets or a machine gun, sometimes if you're lucky the Guass. But at any rate, all those weapons are way more powerful than trying to splatter somebody, and I guarantee you're gonna run into armor lock, which is what happens to us in this game. You run into somebody with armor lock and that's it. So try to lay off the splatters unless absolutely necessary. You know, allow the gunner on the back of your vehicle to do most of the work, okay? The other thing to look out for is grenades, sticky grenades especially, lasers, rockets, these large, powerful, heavy weapons, right, that can take out a vehicle with just a single shot. You gotta watch out for these weapons, okay? So, with that in mind, if you're driving around, and there's a nice triple kill, by the way, let me stop and mention that. What did I tell you in the last video? Never, ever, ever have a passenger in your Warthog during a Slayer game type. He serves no purpose there, and you're just going to give up an easy triple, which I got there. So I've already got a triple and a killing spree before my buddy Captain Camper 42 even picked me up. So already off to a good start, but plenty more kills to come. Alright, so watch out for scorpions, wraiths, armor lock rockets, sticky grenades, stuff like that. And the best thing to do is just don't get too close to the enemies, right? Vehicles are excellent long and medium range weapons. You don't need to get up real close. In fact, if you do get up close, a lot of times your gunner doesn't have a good angle and you're just going to get stuck or hijacked or something like that, right? So just kind of keep your distance and let the gunner do the work. Another tip in any vehicle is don't stop moving, okay? But this is especially true for warthogs, because warthogs are pretty big and they're just a target for grenades and hijacks and other things when you stop moving, okay? So if you kind of see a cluster of enemies or you're approaching a cluster of enemies, just keep circling around your enemies, right? Don't just stop in one place and, you know, honk your horn and wait for your gunner to kill everybody, because I guarantee you're going to get naded or hijacked or something else very bad is going to happen. So just keep moving. And as you continue to move, you know, especially in the Warthog, if you're the driver and if it's possible, as you're circling your enemies, try to keep your enemies on the passenger side of the vehicle. The reason for doing this is because it's going to be much more difficult for your enemies to shoot you as the driver when you're on the other side of the Warthog. The Warthog will kind of shield you somewhat if you can keep your enemies on the passenger side. Now this isn't always an option, right? You can't always do that, but when possible, if you're kind of making circular motions around your enemies, try to circle in such a way that keeps the enemies on the passenger side of your vehicle. And finally, call out the enemies, right? Like in a multiple person vehicle like a Falcon or a Warthog, you know, it's imperative that you're communicating with your teammate, right? Because a lot of times they can see things that you can't see because you're not always looking in the same direction and you're not sure what direction each other are going. So you know, communicate. It's very, very important that you communicate with one another between the gunner and the driver. I got my running right there, rampage coming right up. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about calling out enemies here in a second using the clock system, right? But I want to get to some tips for the gunners. Shooting is much less complicated than driving. Number one thing is just shoot. The thing that drives me absolutely crazy when I'm driving a teammate is when he doesn't even shoot. You're driving around, you're getting him right up there by the enemies, and he's not even shooting, right? So lay on the fire. Of course, don't just waste your rounds or overheat your weapon, because that's the other thing that drives me nuts is when gunners overheat their chain gun and then all of a sudden when they actually need to use it, it's not available anymore. You know, when you're gunning, try to look mostly ahead of the vehicle, alright? You know, it's okay to look from side to side and occasionally behind you or whatnot, but when you're not looking ahead, then problems happen. Like right here, I'm looking behind the vehicle and unfortunately my driver drives into armor lock and we get toast. So make sure that you're always looking ahead of the vehicle as often as possible. Also, when you're the gunner, make sure to use a call out system, right? I really recommend the clock system, which means that if someone's straight ahead of you, that's 12 o'clock. Straight behind you, that's 6 o'clock. To your right, 3 o'clock. To your left, 9 o'clock. If you've never used this before, or if you're not comfortable with it, get comfortable with it. It's a very valuable tool in Halo, and you'll use it in real life as well. It's very practical, it's very quick and efficient. So make sure to call out, and if you can, use that clock system. I want to leave you with a poll question today. When Halo 4 comes out, which arm effect would you like to see return? The Flaming Helmet, Pestilence, Inclement Weather, Heart Attack, or Grunt Birthday Party? So please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know which armor effect you want to see return in Halo 4. I want to thank you for watching today. This is Halo Reach Tutor signing out. I'll see you next time.